we have a section to be delivered. It's a keynote address actually to be delivered on cyber protect your digital landscape. And to do this is somebody who is coming from one of our partners, and she's not just an ordinary personality, she's a robust package all put together. And I want to actually open you up to, let me just, when it comes to, sorry, you might notice that when it comes to ladies, I am kind of soft. I'll read everything about them. It's not your problem. Are you the MC? I'm the MC. If we take census now, men are more than women in this place, true of us. So respect the women. Please put your hands together for every woman in this place. You are not clapping for women. Women, oh, women, you know women. I found one thing fascinating about women. They are, well, I'll tell you much later about women, but talking about women, let me quickly read this to you. She's a solution engineer, Africa, with Acronis, and Irene's career of 10 years plus spans roles in network and security design, solutions architecture, pre-sales engineering, and product development and management. She entered the industry at Layer 3 Limited, where she helped build and design several network services, enterprise and service provider network, wireless networks, network security solutions, mobility solutions, etc. Using solutions from, among others, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, Post Secure, Juniper, F5, Blue Coat, Aruba, and AirWatch by VMware. She also gained experience in providing the necessary technical expertise to enable organizations build robust and secure networks. Following this, she moved on to Westcon, an IT solution distribution company, where she focused on building and designing security solutions around technologies such as Palo Alto, Checkpoint, Trend Micro, and F5. Irene is also experienced in developing solutions based on new and existing products and technologies that would be beneficial to current and prospective customers. Currently, Irene works as a solution engineer looking after the African territory at Acronis, a cyber protection company where she helps to offer holistic protection over organizations, data, and infrastructure. Irene is married with 2 beautiful sons. Ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not too busy and you're not feeling too lazy, help me make welcome the solution manager, Acronis Africa, not other but Mrs. Irene Odili, as she comes to take us on this keynote address that says, Cyber Protect Your Digital Landscape. Please put your hands together one more time for her. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Just like you said, my name is Irene Odili. I am currently a solutions engineer at Acronis, and I'm honored to be standing in front of everybody here to talk about cyber protection. Slides, please. I'm glad my session is happening after the food. So everybody is listening to me with a full stomach. Okay. So basically we'll be talking about how to cyber protect your digital landscape with Acronis. Firstly, I want to do a quick introduction about Acronis as an organization. Sorry, let me catch my breath a bit. So last year, about this time last year, I'm sure if we had asked in a room like this, thank you, if anybody knew about Acronis, maybe we would have seen like 1 or 2 hands. But I'm glad to know that in the span of 1 year, that has improved drastically. We have quite a number of customer base here in Nigeria. So who are we? What is Acronis about? Sorry, is this working? Hello? Okay, Okay, so Acronis is a cyber protection company. Not a lot of people are familiar with that term, cyber protection, but don't worry, I'll break it down for you. So what does that mean? What do we do, right? We basically help organizations protect their data, their application, their systems, right, from several things. When people hear cyber protection, they think that it's only protection from cyber threats, but it's a lot more than that, right? So we're talking protection from issues such as hardware failure, natural disasters, and even human error, right? A lot of IT guys here can categorically agree with me that human error is one critical issue that is faced in a lot of organizations. And so we have actually also put that into consideration while we develop our solutions for organizations. So, like I said, we are a Swiss company, but our head office is currently based in Singapore, was founded in 2003. And over the years, we have actually grown exponentially as an organization, right? We've scaled, we've grown, and we have quite a number of a large reach as an organization. Just by looking at the figures, right? We currently do as much as $75 million annually as a revenue. This might not mean a lot, but it just shows you how developed we are as an organization with a 50% annual growth rate, right? We are 80% of that growth is actually in the cloud. So we have about 20,000 service providers that are currently helping us to offer our cyber protect solution to our over 750,000 customers and businesses that we currently serve, right? So from a global perspective, yes, we have about 2,000 employees globally. We have offices in about 34 countries and are actually current in 150 countries. So what that means is that even though we don't have offices in those countries, we actually have staffs in those countries. Case in point, Nigeria. And of course, our flagship product, which is the Acronis Cyber Protect solution, currently serves about 2 million workloads globally, with about 20,000 cloud partners, working hand in hand to provide that service to our customers. Okay. Okay. Now, speaking further, right? We from a data center perspective, currently we have about 52 data centers globally. The good news is that 2 of them are here in Africa, 1 in Nigeria. We talked about. I remember the panel that spoke earlier talked about data sovereignty, keeping the data locally, and we have actually also put that into consideration. And we have a data center in Nigeria. Our data center in Nigeria is about 1 year old. Yeah, it was launched about this time last year. And this is actually also exponentially growing. The plan eventually is to have about 100 data centers in the next 24 months. And also 1 more in Kenya before the end of this year. So, of course, we are actually growing exponentially. Okay, so what is cyber protection for everybody? I have a problem with this mic. Can I ask a question? Can I do without the mic? Can you hear me? Navim, you can hear me? It's heavy. It's heavy. I have a very loud voice, very loud. Okay, so one of the easiest ways we try to analyze this our term we refer to as cyber protection is that the good thing is we are post-COVID now. And when you look at the different stages, right, of what happened during the COVID era in comparison to the computer threats, right, we have actually seen a lot of similarities. Firstly, from a prevention perspective, of course, we know prevention is very key. It's important, either from a biological perspective or from a computer perspective, right, from a digital perspective, right. So we must always put prevention first. And we have also included that, considered that in the development of our solution. How did we do that? Vulnerability assessment. We're actually able to provide for vulnerability assessment for workloads within the organization, such that we can scan your workloads and then, based on the VCE standards, CVE rather, standards, we can actually detect if there are any vulnerabilities in that workload that can actually be exploited, by hackers and malicious intent, organization. Now, we do not only do vulnerability assessment, we also take it a step further. So when we scan your devices and we say, okay, we detect any vulnerabilities, right? We're actually able to also recommend that, okay, there are patches available that you can use to resolve whatever vulnerabilities has been identified within your system. And note that all of this is done automatically. So when you do a vulnerability assessment within your organization, as you generate the report for that vulnerability assessment, you actually also get the recommendation to go ahead and patch that vulnerability almost immediately. Next, detection, right? Okay, so even though we do a lot of prevention, from time to time you can find yourself in contact with any malicious activity, or there can be an infection within the organization. So how do you deal with that, right? So we're actually able to provide machine learning-based threat detection, and this is actually very sophisticated because it actually uses behavioral-based technologies, advanced artificial intelligence to be able to detect any form of malicious activities within your organization. So it studies the base level of what is happening within the organization, and once it detects any anomaly, within that communications within the organization, it actually flags that and lets the IT administrator know. Next, response. How do you then respond, to that? A malicious file or a malicious activity has been detected on the network. How do we respond to that, right? Also, we are also able to block malware execution, right? We use our active protection technology, right, to block malware execution. We have anti-ransomware capabilities also embedded into our solutions to ensure that if there are any ransomware encryption trying to take place within the organization, we can actually block those from being executed. After detection, okay, next will be recovery. How do you recover, right? In a situation where you had an attack within your organization, how do you then recover from it, right? So we have instant recovery, and this instant recovery is actually very important because of the way it works. So our solution is actually a holistic solution. I'll run you through all of it later on. But that has different modules, right? So we have the backup module, we have the security module, we have the management module, right? And even though these modules are different services that in some cases are even offered as different solutions by some other organizations, they're actually integrated into each other in our organization. So what that means is that all of those different modules, there are actually about 9 of them now, are actually one license. So what if you subscribe to that single license, you actually have access to all that functionality. So we're talking EDR, we're talking data loss prevention, we're talking management, we're talking security, advanced security, backup, and even disaster recovery. And this is why we are able to offer all of this service. I will expatiate on that later to you. So from an instant recovery perspective, so we have your backup sitting in the cloud. Say, for example, you get attacked by a malware, right? So you go into your organization, you clean that up, you do the cleanup, format everything. Because we have your backup sitting in the cloud, it's easy for you to do that. You don't have to worry, you don't have to fear, like, hey, if I have to do a format, if I have to do a cleanup, what do I do to sensitive data? What do I do to sensitive information that is sitting on this device, that I'm eventually going to lose based on that activity? So that is where the backup comes in. Instantly you can recover. Very, very minimal RTO. RTO, for some of us that are not aware, refers to recovery time objective. So basically means that the amount of time it takes for you to have actually recover. And then there's also the RPO part, which is the recovery point objective, which speaks to how far back. So what that means is, if I have my backup files sitting in the cloud, I can recover yesterday to the point where to the state where my laptop was, or my server was yesterday, or my application was yesterday, or I can choose to recover from last week. So all of that flexibility is actually available to you as an organization. And then finally, of course, forensics. It's always good to be able to go back and say, hey, what happened? How did it happen? How can we ensure that this thing that has happened to our organization does not occur again? Where did the lapses come in? Where did we miss it? Where did we drop the ball? That's where forensic comes in. We're able to take forensic information from within your organization that you can also always look back at and say, okay, this is what happened, and this is how we can prevent this from occurring again. So just to quickly run through the rest of the slide. Okay, so what this means is that we've looked at all the different stages of this, and because we function in all these different stages, what that means is that we are now able to provide holistic end-to-end protection. So from a proactive approach to an active approach, and even to a reactive approach. A lot of organizations cannot boast of it. Some people say, oh, we just focus on the proactive part, right? We ensure that before the attack happens, we can protect you. Some people say, oh, we are reactive. Yes, we might not be able to prevent you, but when it happens, we can detect and respond. Right? And then some people say, oh, well, we are more of that's active, sorry. That's active protection. Then reactive. Oh, yeah, after the attack happens, we can help you with the forensics, we can help you with recovery, So, but within our organization, Acronis, we're actually able to provide that end-to-end protection. So at whatever point of that kill chain, of that process that you actually find yourself, we can actually offer protection to you as an organization at that point in time. Okay, so just taking it a little forward, I've just to talk about some of the different ways that we actually deal with this. So, from a prevention perspective, we talked about patch management, right? So how do we, and in this situation, I'm talking about process right now. What processes within our organization helps to do that, right? So we do what is referred to as backup before update. So what that means is that we see situations, I'm sure IT guys around here can attest, when they need to install a patch, it's usually very fearful for some people. In fact, I came back from Senegal yesterday, and while I was in Senegal, I met with a customer that said he has not patched his system for like 5 months. I think his organization is like a financial institution. Now his fear is that the solution is currently used. If he tries to patch it and something happens, he does not know how to recover from that. Patching can actually be a very sensitive process for most organizations, because there's the fear of, I'm trying to install an application or run or update what is there. What if something happens? What if the system crashes? What if my system cannot handle that process? So a lot of organizations shy from it, but we actually offer solution to that. What we refer to as backup before update. So before you actually go ahead to do a patch, what you can do, what we allow you to do, is to take a backup of that system at that point in time. So you take a snapshot of the system and we save it for you in the cloud, right? And then you go ahead to install your patch. If for whatever reason anything happens in the course of installing that patch, you can always roll back. You have that confidence knowing that, okay, yes, this patch didn't work, it failed, but I can always roll back, take the system back to where it was at the point before we actually went ahead to resume this patch. So that's where that starts. Now, with regards to detection, we can actually do malware detection in backups. So what that means is that as we take your backups from your devices, right, your laptop, your server, your virtual machines, even applications, we are actually able to back up applications, databases. The spread is wide, really. Your Office 365 applications, all the rest, As we take those backup and keep them for you in the cloud, there is the possibility that if the organization has malware existing, say fragments, you know how these guys work. They come in, drop a fragment, go, come in, drop a fragment, go. And then you're updating, you're picking that, you're backing up, and you're backing up that fragment, that malware fragment, along with it, right? What happens? So eventually it becomes a full-blown malware. Months, weeks later, you go ahead, you clean up your system with the confidence that, oh, I have backup in the cloud. And then after cleaning up, you restore back. Not realizing that what you're restoring back is still infected files, and then you're back to square one. So what we are able to do to prevent that is what we refer to as malware detection in backups. So as your backups, folders, and files sit in the cloud, we can actually scan them, right? So we have a solution called backup scanning. We can scan those files from time to time based on a schedule that you, as an organization or an IT administrator or even a security admin, has actually set. So you set the schedule, and then we scan those files from time to time for malware. Now, someone might say, oh, what if I forgot to, what if I didn't think it was a problem, and then I forgot to activate that function? Yes, we also have what we call safe restore. So if for whatever reason you need to restore a backup file to the local host, right, at the point of doing that restoration, you can actually also enable safe restore such that that file is scanned at that point in time and cleaned of any malicious fragments or malicious files. So ensuring that what you have, what you're taking back into the system, is actually clean files. So that speaks to the detection. Moving on to the response, of course, malware removal. This is basically what we do. So even as much as we're able to detect and scan, we can actually remove those, from the file. Automated disaster recovery. When we speak to recovery, our disaster recovery system or solution is top-notch, right? And the aim, really, two things that were put in mind when developing that solution is, number one, automation. Number two, time to leave. Let me put it that way. So recovery time objective, very key. What it means is that I come to the system, to the office one day, my server is fried. And this is a critical server that's carrying critical workload. What do I do? While I'm thinking about running to Computer Village, calling my guy in Computer Village, guy, you need to send me HP server. No. While everyone is still worrying about themselves. I remember one of the sessions, we talked about the challenge with getting hardware into the country at that point in time, and how long it's at this point in time, really. Or even post-COVID, it has actually been a problem since post-COVID, really. Sometimes it takes 1 year, it takes a very long time for hardware to come in. So while you're sorting that, all you need to do, open your system, log into the console, the Cyber Protect console, and click failover. And in 1 minute, I don't want to be to exaggerate. If I want to exaggerate, I'll say 5 seconds. In 1 minute, your system is up and running. You have an exact replica, not just an exact replica of what you had locally, right? So it is that simple, that straightforward, And then the automation part, because, okay, yes, we've solved the RTO part. What about the automation part? That's where we have runbooks. So runbooks is something that was integrated into our disaster recovery system, where you can actually automate and orchestrate, not just automate, your failover processes. So what that means is, it's simple for somebody that has one server or one virtual machine, or that he wants to fail over. What about a big organization, a bank, NITDA, what's these people that used to do our NIBS, has 30, 40, 50 servers, carrying critical workload that they need to fail over. How do they deal with that? That's where runbooks come in. So with runbooks, you can actually, it's like writing an algorithm, literally writing a code, telling the system, I want server A, my database server, to come up first. Because my application server is dependent on my database server, please, you have to wait for database to come up before you can start application. Step by step, orchestrating that process, right? As much as, and the runbooks will check as much as network connectivity. So when the servers come up, is the network up? If you have applications that are running, the application they're running, it would actually test all of that for you without any human interference. Remember, I said one of the things that we protect for human health. human involved. There could be, errors, oversights, blind spots, and all the rest. So without any human error, once you input your run books, you have everything set. When that time comes, all you need to do is just click failover, and automatically that process begins to run. Imagine if the IT guy had to do this manually. He has 30 different servers. First he has to log into the console, click failover for server A, wait for server A to come in, log into server A, ping the network point. Oh, okay, network is working. Go to the application running on server A, ping the application port. Okay, yes, fine. Let me go to server B. All of that stress, all of that process, all of that time wastage, we've actually taken it away from you with the run books. Okay, finally, forensics. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, we're actually able to take metadata and memory dump information from your processes, your activities, your devices that you can actually use for investigation purposes in the case of a forensic situation. Okay, so this slide actually speaks to Microsoft 365. Like I mentioned earlier, Microsoft 365 is one of the applications that we actively protect and we can back up for you as an organization. So from an all 365 perspective, all Office 365 applications, so we're talking Outlook, we're talking SharePoint, we're talking Drive, all of them, right? We can actually back them up for you, and we actually offer unlimited storage for Office 365 applications, backing up. So if you come to us and say, hey, I need you to help me back up my whole 365 applications, right? You can be guaranteed that we don't charge you for the storage. We only charge you per seat, and it's simple and cheap. Okay. Right. So I wanted to talk about how we have grown as an organization. I mentioned earlier that we've actually grown, and our growth has actually been very, very exponential, right? It's very key for me to address this because a lot of people that knew Acronis before 2017 knew Acronis as a backup and disaster recovery organization. That's what we used to do, tape drives and all the rest. But we have grown, and we have grown into a cyber protection company. And that was before, because by 2017, the founders, the CEOs of the company looked and said, oh, we are beginning to see that protection goes beyond just backup and disaster recovery. There is the need to integrate security, even the protection, into the protection that we offer our customers. And so that was where they came up with the active protection. And then over time, this has actually metamorphosed, eventually into what we currently have as a Cyber Protect Cloud solution. So that basically is the name of the solution that we offer. And this solution we offer it from a cloud and even an on-premise perspective. And it has developed, of course, when Cyber Protect Acronis Cyber Protect started, right? Of course, we started newly, but over time, it has developed beyond that. It has gone beyond just management, security, disaster recovery and backup, and now we are even beginning to add new solutions such as data loss prevention. We recently launched our data loss prevention the last quarter of last year. Before the end, we're ending this quarter very soon, in like 2 weeks. So we're going to be launching our EDR, that's our endpoint detection and response solution, very soon. And it doesn't just sit with that. We have actually even integrated a lot of tools into our solution. Our solution is typically a SaaS solution. We don't do infrastructure. As much as it sits in the cloud, we don't do infrastructure as a service. We do SaaS, right? The only form of infrastructure that we offer would be the storage as a service. Because when we take a backup, of course, we have to save it somewhere as an infrastructure, And because it's a SaaS solution, we recognize that we have organizations that have different other applications that they might need to integrate our solution with. So far, currently now we have about 62 different applications that either you currently use within your organization, or it is something that you're using to look into you, right? Which we already support and can actually integrate into solution. And then finally, I just wanted to give an overview because I've been saying, the cyber protector. Okay, so what comprises of the cyber protect cloud? We are here now. This is the main deal. So in total, we have about 9 different solutions, right? We have the advanced backup. Advanced backup allows you to back up all your devices. So we're talking laptop, desktop, servers, applications, right? We can back up to anywhere and we can back up from anywhere. So we can do cloud to cloud. We can do physical to cloud. We can restore physical to virtual machine to physical, physical to bare metal. We are that granular and flexible, right? Applications, yes, our solution is also application aware. If you back up your application, you can also restore it granularly, such that if you back up an application, you can choose that, I do not want to restore the entire application. I just want to restore maybe just a database or just certain sections of that application. From a connectivity perspective, we can do site-to-site, we can do multi-site connectivity, right, for our disaster recovery. So for organizations that have branches and have critical servers, in all these different branches, yes, we can back them up for you. All you need to do is just create a VPN gateway, and we connect that, use that gateway basically to create a tunnel, right, to our cloud infrastructure, and we do the backup for you. Management also is one critical issue that organizations have. We also have a management solution. With our management solution, you are able to do centralized management, group management of devices, hardware inventory, which is very key, very critical. We've seen that as a major challenge with IT guys, being able to get critical information about these are the devices within my organization, this is the operating system that is running on it, this is the version, this is the build, all of that, the IP addressing and all of that. Just with a click of a button, literally, click of a button is like turning on and switching. You don't need to write a code, you don't need to write any CLI, anything. Just enable, you can pull a report giving you that information. And it doesn't stop there. We also do software inventory. So if you want to get a full knowledge of all the softwares that are installed, within your organization, yes, we can do that. What software is running on each and every device within the organization, the operating systems, the softwares, the builds, the versions, how updated it is, all of that information, we can get it for you. What else? Security. Yes, I've spoken about security and even EDR. The EDR solution, like I mentioned, will be launched very soon, basically allowing you to get, incident reporting, being able to get visibility into, there was an incident, or how it happened, what is happening, what are the processes that happened on the back end. We can get that for you. DLP. The DLP solution is the most recently launched. It was launched last quarter. And I always say one thing. I think one of the driving force, right, with our founder is that he puts automation in mind. All of these solutions were actually built on a platform of automation. So human error is very key, is a major factor for us. And that plays seriously with our DLP solution. Implementing DLP is a lot of headache because it takes a lot. It means sitting down, understanding the process, understanding communication between individuals within the organization. So how does Mr. A talk to Mr. B? What kind of information is being sent from account to IT, to engineering? Who sends what sensitive information? But all of that process, we've actually been able to automate it, where our DLP system just sits within the environment, listens, to all the communication that happens, and then even groups them. And based on that, you're actually able to generate an automatic DLP policy that you can then enforce within the organization. So, of course, this is just to give a brief overview. If you're interested in knowing more, learning more, we are available. Our stand is outside. You can come to us. We'll do a demo for you. We'll show you how this works, what the console looks like, and all. And I'm very available. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for that wonderful one. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Is that it's heavy? The mic is heavy. No wonder you were. Okay, we'll take 1-2 questions. Just 1-2 questions. Preferably one because of time. Okay, let's just here's a question. From a woman to a woman.
I can hear you.
What?
Towards supporting these tech startups from their life cycle, from the point of development, launch, and as well as to the point at which they scale. Is there any customizable package or provisions made to support small businesses and startups, tech startups in Africa?
Okay, so this is where, when you say specifically customized, the direct answer is no. But this is the best part, is that our solution was built to scale. So just like every other cloud solution, right, where offers that elasticity. So you can start off at any point that you are and grow, as your organization grows. So yes, when you talk about startup, in fact, currently in Nigeria, I know that we do not have a lot of enterprises, a lot of big guys signed up yet, but we have a lot of small, and medium-scale businesses, signed up and are growing daily. So you see an organization starts with like 3, 4, what's it called? Workstations, 1 or 2 servers, physical or in the cloud, and they're growing with that. And one thing that helps that really is because we're integrated with a lot of solutions. So even from a cloud perspective, there's a lot of conversations around infrastructure as a service, right? AWS, Azure, and all the rest. All of these are solutions that we support, right? So if you have infrastructure in the cloud that you would like to back up, you would like to enable any of our services on, yes, we
Okay, one more.
Okay, let's just take it.
Sorry. Okay, so if looking at the different types of cyber protection you guys offer, looking at the proactive stage, do you guys do pen testing for startups?
Okay, no, for now, no, we don't. We only do vulnerability assessment, right? But penetration testing, no, we don't.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hopefully, in the nearest future, we'll do that. Don't worry, I'll let you know when it comes up.
Okay, that's all we can take for question. If I don't do this now, they will say I'm being a feminist.
Yes.
Okay, let me just take only that one from that man.
Thank you very much. My name is Brian. I will be very fair to say your presentation was out, like it was way beyond here. And I just have one question to ask. I hope I'm asking Acronis directly because yeah, of course. Okay. We've seen cyber threat going kaboom, and we expect it to even do more kaboom even in the future. And we understand that the root cause of the problem most of the times are seed phrases where people get to. Most times when the human beings, like you mentioned, the human errors, when they fail to manage seed phrases, sometimes they forget lose any hair. So what is Acronims doing ahead of the future to ensure that these are being kept in check? Is Acronims thinking towards Web3, blockchain, trying to tighten up some of the loose ends, if you get where I mean? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so our solution is zero-day protection. So what that means is that, like I mentioned earlier, we use machine learning, artificial intelligence, and behavioral heuristics, right, to ensure that you get that full active protection. But it doesn't always, it doesn't end there. Human error is usually a problem. And so we have automated that process such that the way the console works, right, I wish I could do a demo, I really wish. Maybe we can set it up. If you want, you can reach out to me, I can set it up for you, right, show you actually how it works. So you have different widgets, right, that show you how you sit with regard to security. One quick example is what we refer to as the cyber fit score. So what the cyber fit score does is that it scans any machine, any device that it's looking after at that point in time. Let me use that word, and then tells you the security, so it goes beyond, this is not vulnerability assessment. The security fitness of that machine, that's why we call it cyber fit score, right? So what it means is that it looks at all the different ways. So from the operating system to the hardware build to the VPN running, everything about the system, and says, okay, based on your boot configuration, based on the kind of VPN, the way your VPN is being configured, based on the way your antivirus, all the rest is configured on this system, it gives you a score. And it doesn't end there. It actually says, okay, for you to fix this, if there are any lapses, you need to do this, this, and this. Right? So feel free. Anybody that has any, reach out to me. I'm ready to do a demo to show you how that works. He has a question.
Okay, I will just take one more question, please. Just one, because of time, please.
Okay, with the peculiarity of this solution, does it have cyber insurance?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So, okay, maybe I was too quick to answer that. So,
yes, no, it's accurate. Yes, it does. It does.
No,
she has to go into details to an extent.
I want to understand where he's coming from
before
I give him the exact. But yes, it does. So we are affiliated with a lot of standard organizations, right? Which from time to time come check our build, how robust our security solution is. And I can categorically say that we compete actively, comfortably with a lot of the big guys, the no name, right? We have a lot of reports from all these independent bodies that have done their own research and surveys.
So, do your SLAs, like if you're going to have an SLA with a client, for instance, and something happens along the way with respect to their backups, does the SLA cover that part that, okay, if you can't find your backups or they get corrupted, this is what happens to Acronis? That's the cyber insurance I'm trying to talk about.
Okay. We have SLA documents, right, that we share with our customers. Unfortunately, I'm taking part, so I've not really had time to look at it, but I know that we have SLA documents that we actually share. And then we draw the line on where the liability is. Who looks after what, who is responsible for what, all of that is covered.
Okay, let me just, so you won't beef me, because I just had beef just now outside. Let's entertain that last question from my brother there, then we'll proceed.
Thank you. So please, I would like to find out, in the case of ransomware protection, okay, do you offer like a decrypting software, say there's an attack and data has been encrypted by said attacker or bad player?
Okay, so we don't decrypt, but when we realize that we monitor the system actively, and once we recognize that files are being encrypted, we're actually able to stop it, right? Now, it doesn't end, so you can ask what happens to the files that are already encrypted. The good thing is that situations like that, we can always restore because we have an active backup, right, running in the back end. So at the end of the day, you as the organization or as the user, you do not actually lose those files.
God bless you for that. Please, one more time, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for this wonderful speaker. She was so eloquent, despite the heaviness of the microphone. Well delivered, well delivered. Thank you so much. Thank you so